How are you guys doing? Today is Friday, January 22nd, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to walk you through yesterday's Elite performances from Thursday, January 21st. And of course, I'm going to walk you through everything going on today as we maneuver through this world of sports one day at a time, especially with the Elite. Starting with the NBA, there were only 3 games last night, and 2 of them were on TNT. Starting in Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Bucks hosted the defending 2020 NBA champs, the Los Angeles Lakers, and in the last minutes, the Lakers would pull a win with a very big 7-win lead, 113-106, after outscoring the Bucks by 10 in the second quarter and riding that momentum to the end of the game. For the Milwaukee Bucks, their starting point guard Jrue Holiday would finish with 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists in 39 minutes, shooting 10 for 18 from the field. Their starting small forward Chris Middleton would finish with 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists in 36 minutes, shooting 6 for 10 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the free throw line. And the Bucks' leading scorer would be their elite power forward, rating back-to-back MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo, who finished with 25 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, and 9 turnovers, as well as fouling out in 35 minutes, shooting 11 for 17 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and 2 for 4 from the free throw line. For the Los Angeles Lakers, their starting shooting guard, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope out of Georgia would finish with 23 points and 3 rebounds in 27 minutes as he shot 7 for 10 from the three-point line. All of his shot attempts came from beyond the three-point line. He was able to finish with 23 points on the night. Their elite power forward Anthony Davis would finish with 18 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists, as well as a couple of blocks in 38 minutes, shooting 8 for 18 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, and 2 for 5 from the free throw line. And the Los Angeles Lakers leading scorer would be their goated small forward LeBron James, who would finish with 34 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists in 38 minutes as he shot 13 for 25 from the field, 6 for 10 from 3, and he made both of his free throw attempts. With this win, the Los Angeles Lakers are sitting on top of the West with a 12-4 record. They are the only team in the NBA currently with 12 wins. And with this loss, the Milwaukee Bucks are currently 9-6, which has them sitting with the 3rd best record in the East, sitting with the Celtics one game behind the 76ers as it stands. Jumping out to the second game that was on TNT, the Utah Jazz hosted the New Orleans Pelicans. The Utah Jazz used to be the New Orleans Jazz historical fact, but then that ended up being, so then the New Orleans franchise ended up being the Hornets, which then became the Pelicans. For the New Orleans Hornets in this matchup, their elite small forward out of Duke, Brandon Ingram, go Duke, would finish with 23 points in 33 minutes, shooting 8 for 14 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. And the New Orleans Pelicans leading scorer would be their elite power forward, the number 1 overall pick out of Duke from the 2019 draft, Zion Williamson, who finished with 27 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists in 34 minutes, shooting 9 for 14 from the field. He made his only three-point field goal of the game, and he shot 8 for 10 from the free throw line. For the Utah Jazz, their starting point guard Mike Conley would finish with 20 points and 6 assists, as well as 3 steals in 31 minutes, shooting 8 for 14 from the field. Their elite center, Rudy Gobert, would finish with 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 blocks, as well as a couple of assists in 30 minutes, shooting 6 for 8 from the field. And the Utah Jazz leading scorer would be their elite shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell, who would lead the way with 36 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in 34 minutes, shooting 11 for 19 from the field, 6 for 8 from 3, and 8 for 8 from the free throw line. With this win, the Utah Jazz are 11-4, which has them sitting with the Los Angeles Clippers for the 2nd best record in the West. They are one of 3 teams in the West currently with double-digit wins following this outing. And then with this loss, the New Orleans Pelicans are now 5-9, which has them sitting with the 12th best record in the NBA right now. Jumping out to Oakland for the last game of the night, the Golden State Warriors hosted the New York Knicks, and the Knicks were able to get the 119-104 win over the Warriors after outscoring Golden State by 9 in the first quarter and 7 in the third, and keeping it close in the other 2. For the Golden State Warriors, their leading scorer would be their goated point guard Stephen Curry, who'd finish with 30 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and a couple of steals, 3 from the three-point line and 6 for 8 from the line. With this win, the New York Knicks are 8-8, which currently has them tied with the Cavaliers and Hawks, sitting at a 500 record on the season with the sixth best record in the East. Or I imagine at 8-8, they're probably sitting at 8th. And then with this loss, the Golden State Warriors are currently sitting at 8-7, which has them sitting in the sixth best record in the or tied with the Spurs for the 8th best record in the NBA as it stands. But as of right now, they're still sitting on the playoff picture looking in. There were only 3 games last night, but there's a lot to look forward to today because it is Friday, starting with the primetime matchups on 7:30. The Sixers are going to host the Celtics on ESPN. Following that on ESPN, the Suns are going to host the Nuggets at 10 o'clock. Outside of ESPN, the Hornets are going to host the Bulls at 7 o'clock. Also at 7 o'clock, the Pistons are going to host the Rockets, and the Pacers are going to host the Magic. At 7:30, the Cavaliers are going to host the Nets outside of the ESPN game, and the Raptors are going to host the Heat in Tampa Bay. At 8 o'clock, the Timberwolves are going to host the Atlanta Hawks. At 8:30, the Spurs are going to host their in-state rivals, the Dallas Mavericks, led by Luka Doncic. And then at 10 o'clock, the Clippers are going to host the Thunder, and the Kings are going to host the Knicks as the Bucks-Wizards game and the Blazers-Grizzlies games have been postponed for today. Looking out into college basketball to show you what's going out with that. 4th-ranked Iowa hosted unranked Indiana, and Indiana was able to beat Iowa 81-69 by 12 after outscoring Iowa by 18 in the second half. Trace Jackson Davis would lead the way for Indiana as he finished with 23 points and 7 rebounds. With this win, Indiana is 9-6 as they improved to 4-4 in the Big Ten. With this loss, Iowa is now 12-3 as their Big Ten record is now sitting at 6-2. And then 24th-ranked UCLA went to the Bay Area to face off against UC Berkeley, the Cal Golden Bears, and they were able to beat the Bears 61-57 after outscoring Cal by 8 in the second half to come back and get a very big win on the road. Cody Riley would lead the way for UCLA with 13 points and 6 rebounds. With this win, UCLA is 12-2 as their Pac-12 record improves to 8-0. With this loss, Cal is 7-9 as they are 2-7 currently in the Pac-12. Looking out quickly to what's going on in the NHL, because, of course, the hockey season had briefly started, and I'm just going to walk you through a good amount of those scores. The Bruins were able to beat the Flyers in the shootout to get their second win of the season. Tuukka Rask leading the way with 22 saves as the Bruins were able to score 4 goals in the third period to send it into overtime and shootouts in the first place. The Islanders were able to beat the Devils 4-1 after scoring 2 goals in both the fourth and the third period. Barzal would lead the way for the Islanders as he had a goal and 2 assists. The Senators would host the Winnipeg Jets, and the Jets would pick up their 3rd win of the season after scoring 3 of their 4 goals in the second period. Big win for the Jets. They're now 3-1. The Tampa Bay Lightning were able to beat the Columbus Blue Jackets in overtime 3-2 in order to keep their undefeated record. They're sitting at 3-0 behind points goal. The Montreal Canadiens were able to beat the Vancouver Canucks 7-3 after scoring 4 goals in the second period and scoring in every single one. Armia would lead the way for Montreal as he had 2 goals and 2 assists. Big overall performance as the Canadiens picked up their 3rd win of the season. The Los Angeles Kings were able to pick up their 1st win of the season over the Colorado Avalanche, winning 4-2 after coming back from down 2-0 to score 2 goals in both the second and third period to pick up their 1st win of the season. And that's what hockey's looking like. And looking out to the primetime matchups today, there's the only 2 games are going to be on ESPN Plus. At 7 o'clock, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to host the Edmonton Oilers. The Maple Leafs are 3-2 as the Oilers are 2-3. And then at ESPN Plus later at 8:30, the Dallas Stars will play their first game of the season as they're going to host the Nashville Predators, who are currently 2-1. And then with that said, I'm going to jump into soccer just to show you what soccer is currently looking like right now, because there were a couple big games last night, and there are a couple more to look forward to today. Just starting off with the Premier League yesterday, one of the top teams in the world, Liverpool hosted Burnley, and Burnley picked up a penalty kick goal in the 83rd minute to give Liverpool their first home loss since 2017, which is pretty big considering within that time they would go on to win the Premier League and the Champions League. With this loss, Liverpool is currently sitting 4th in the Premier League as they currently sit 6 points behind Manchester United, who's currently sitting at the very top. Also, Lazio was able to beat Parma in the Italian Coppa Italia 2-1 as they will advance to the next round, especially off of a Parma own own goal. I know that dude's kicking himself. In the Spanish Copa del Rey, Barcelona was able to beat UD Cornellà after scoring both their goals in extra time in the 92nd and in the 120th minute. But they will go on and advance to the next round. And then in La Liga, Atletico Madrid was able to beat Eibar 2-1 after Dimitrovic, Eibar's goalie, would score the penalty kick in the 12th minute. Luis Suarez, Atletico Madrid's elite striker from Uruguay, would score in the 40th minute to tie it up, and then he would score a penalty kick in the 89th minute to give Atletico Madrid the 3 points necessary to sneak past Eibar and stay at the top of of La Liga. As it currently sits, Atletico Madrid is sitting at the top of La Liga. They are 7 points ahead of second place Real Madrid with one less game played. But a win yesterday was incredibly crucial, and Atletico Madrid is not giving Real Madrid or Barcelona the opportunity to come back in and give them a chance to come back and make a name for themselves in the table. Looking out to what's going on today at 7:00, the United States the women's national team is going to host Colombia for an international friendly on ESPN2. That'll be a big matchup to watch. In the German Bundesliga, Borussia Mönchengladbach is going to host Borussia Dortmund. These are two teams that are currently competing for the Champions League. As it sits, Borussia Dortmund is sitting fourth in the table behind Bayern Munich by 10 points. And then Mönchengladbach is 1 point behind Borussia Dortmund, but they are sitting in seventh in the table. So, of course, it's going to be it'll be a very important win for whichever team decides to come out of this. And the winning team more than likely will sit ahead of the other on the table. And if it ends up being a draw, Borussia Dortmund will still sit ahead of Mönchengladbach by a point. And then going out to the last big game of the day at 3:00, the French leaders, PSG, or the French co-leaders, because they share with Lille, they're going to host Montpellier at 3:00. Montpellier is currently sitting at 11th in Ligue 1, so this is a good chance for PSG to get another win. Like I said, they're tied with Lille at the top, and a win here and a possible Lille loss or a draw could see PSG sitting at the top of the league. But we just have to see how that all plays out, and we're going to, as we are leading into this amazing weekend. Today is Friday, January 22nd, 2020. I want to thank you guys once again for listening to all 12 and a half minutes of this piece. I have no individual profiles for today. So with that said, I will get back to everyone tomorrow, especially as basketball and soccer is being played. And my next episode will come tomorrow once all of today's matchups will have completed. Thank you guys once again. Today is Friday, January 22nd, 2021 out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and this is The Elite. And honestly, you're elite for listening to this one. I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out.